That Man and His Manga.
Hello and welcome to That Man. That is me merchandise, and today I thought we'd do something a little bit different. Now, one of the things I get asked so many times is, where can I read manga? Now, I'm not going to answer that question, but I'm going to go one a little bit different. I'm going to show you guys some of the best places to buy manga, at least in the UK. Now, I'm not going to lie, when I watch a lot of MangaTube videos, I tend to find that one certain company gets named time and time again. They are an absolute fantastic company, but only if you live in the US. Because I live outside of the US, they're not so great. And I thought I'd share with you guys some of my favourite places to buy manga, because even if you're outside of the US, you can still find some amazing deals, some fantastic deals. Now I'm going to go physically and digitally. I am focusing on the UK, however, if they ship internationally, I will let you guys know. And don't worry, I'm not being sponsored by any of this, so you know it's all genuine. But before we get into all of that, if you're new to the channel and love all things manga and collecting, from figures to anime and light novels, do me a favour and subscribe and ring that bell so you don't miss out on new weekly videos. I suppose we'll start with the most well-known one, Amazon. And it's most well-known for a reason. Pretty much any time I'm looking for, well, just about anything, I tend to go on Amazon. If I'm trying to buy something and want it immediately, Amazon's Prime service is the way to go. A few people have complained about the quality of volumes they receive, but personally I've bought hundreds of manga and only really had an issue with one or two in terms of them being damaged. Of course, with it being Amazon, they have a ton of smaller stores in here too via the marketplace, so plenty further options. Although it is worth mentioning that Amazon did remove a ton of light novels and ecchi titles, so they may be harder to find than, you know, your normal stuff like My Hero or Jujutsu Kaisen. Fortunately, we do have plenty of alternatives in this video alone. One thing with Amazon, however, is that I really would not recommend pre-ordering with them. I've yet to have a single title on or near release date through them. Usually Amazon will put up the release date as the pre-order date and then we'll send you an email saying there's been a delay, but then they do usually get it within the same month. So yeah, it's not the best, but it does what it does. And it does it quite well. Also, with it being Amazon, they do ship internationally. If Amazon aren't listing it, try Book Depository. Also owned by Amazon themselves, I do find these are pretty darn good. If I want to pre-order anything, I'll usually use these guys as I often get it before the US release date and a few pounds cheaper than RRP. Personally, these are my go-to guys for most manga as they'll often have stock when other places don't. Book Depository ship to a lot of countries, often for free too. Next up is Wordery. Now these were my favourite supply for quite some time. They were often pretty cheap and got things out before release date. They're usually competitive with Book Depository in terms of price and delivery. So if you don't want to go with Amazon for reasons, then these are a fine alternative. Their shipping can take a few days, but I've found that they're usually around the same, if not quicker, than Book Depository themselves. One thing with Wordery, however, is that COVID kind of killed them a bit. At the start of the pandemic, they had an absolutely amazing flash sale on a ton of their stock, but for months after that, they didn't get any new stock whatsoever. Even now I can see that they have a lot of gaps in the back catalogue and don't seem to notice a lot of titles. For example, the 86 light novel. They just don't have it listed. Fortunately, however, they do offer international shipping, so it might be worth checking these guys out. Next up, we have a group of independent shops under one website. I quite like using Hive as it means the little guys get some money, rather than those big nasty corporations. And you often find that a lot of shops have older stock lying around in locations where scalpers and manga collectors don't really go, so it's worth checking these guys for some titles. You usually have to pay for postage, but hey, it's supporting the little guys. WH Smith's, the legendary high street shop, returns in online form. The high street stores themselves usually do have some manga in, often unsold copies of My Hero Academia or Naruto or other popular Viz titles, but the online store is pretty decent as a backup place. Always worth trying, but as it's a store for a high street, you're going to be paying
RRP on these. However, it's worth knowing that you can have the volume sent to any high street WH Smith store for pickup, which is sometimes pretty useful to be honest. Unfortunately, they do not ship internationally at this point. Another high street store and another one that got me into manga. Waterstones often have a lot of the popular titles and were willing to stock when other stores wouldn't. Nowadays, however, Waterstones are a bit hit and miss. Usually they'll have the usual Viz titles and a few others here and there, but not really your first choice when it comes to manga. Their online store, however, is pretty darn good, offering shipping or click and collect for the stores. You are charged for shipping, so having the click and collect is a good alternative in my opinion, especially if you're going to be going to town anyways. I often use Waterstones if other stores are just sold out. However, I find that they're best if you have a few things to buy at once, as the initial rate is kind of expensive and it gets cheaper as it goes on. Blackwells is similar to Waterstones in which they'll have a decent selection of titles, however will also offer click and collect. Unfortunately, they have a lot less stores than Waterstones. I often find their selection is a lot better than Waterstones and often a little bit cheaper. However, I do like that they'll recommend similar titles to you too. For example, they'll recommend other monster girls such as interspecies reviewers if you type in Monster Musume. They also have a rare book section. However, no matter how many times I type in Chainsaw Man, it doesn't bring a result. I guess it's just not that rare. It's well worth mentioning that they do ship worldwide and the price for shipping is included in the price of the book itself, which may make this a very good choice place to import from. Honestly, I really like United Publications. An independent store, but they import a lot of stuff. Their site is a little bit clunky and you do have to pay for postage, but if you can't find stuff elsewhere, these guys are probably the best place to try. Unlike most other places, they will straight up say if a title is out of print, but they will actually try to order the title in for you, and if it doesn't work, they'll come back and advise you it's out of print and they can't get any more from the supplier, rather than just saying, oh well, we might get it some other time, or just keep your order going indefinitely. If it's an older title, it can't harm to try. Also, these guys are really great if you want to import some American Blu-rays, as they include the custom fees as part of the price, so I find they're a lot cheaper than buying from other companies. The next one is a 2-in-1 kind of deal. Forbidden Planet and Forbidden Planet International. To be honest, if you live in the UK and you haven't been into a Forbidden Planet store, I definitely recommend going to one. They're a treasure trove of nerdy stuff. Wait, is nerdy the best thing to say? Or is it geeky? Or is it weeby? I suppose it's all the same thing really, isn't it? Surprisingly, these are two separate companies, but they're also the same. However, they do tend to get a lot of stock in and they have really started to push the anime and manga agenda. Filling shelves once deemed only fit for Funko Pops, they do tend to get a good amount of stock. Some of these shops do 3 for 2 on all of the manga, others do 3 for 2 on only Viz and 7 Seas, but it's well worth checking out. Their online store is really good too, although the international side is a little bit lacking. Another physical store in the UK, but definitely more of a hobby shop than just pure geek stuff, that is Forbidden Planet. Their focus is more on manga and comics rather than Funko Pops and, well, tat. But these are the guys who really got me into manga due to their incredible selections. It's uncommon for me to go in there and not buy at least one manga. Their online store is well put together and you can usually find whatever you want. They'll also order it if you want something specific and they don't have it. Currently, however, they're only shipping within the UK. It's time we get to the digital stuff because hey, you can buy these wherever, I guess. First up, we have Bookwalker, and personally, I love these guys so much. They're a Japanese site, and they're pretty huge. They focus on light novels and manga, but nearly always have either discounts or coin back schemes going on. Coin back is always pretty good, and you can rack up quite a bit of coins to be used for the future purchases. A handy tip is that if you use your coins on a title with coin back, you'll gain further coins back. So sometimes you can get a few free books. Always a plus. The only downside to Bookwalker is that they don't tend to get Viz or Dark Horse titles. Although the former has the majority of their titles already on the Shonen Jump app, so you probably don't really need to buy them anyway. But it's just one of those things worth mentioning. Another digital service I like using is Comixology. It's linked with your Amazon account and includes comic books as well as manga. Personally, I find the app on this one to be a little bit slow, but it's not so bad. This one does have Viz and Dark Horse titles, and I do tend to find the weekly sales are quite nice on there. You can also buy through Amazon for a slight discount further, slightly cheaper than Bookwalker, but you don't get coin back, so Bookwalker wins slightly for that. G Novel Club are your guys for light novels. They have a lot of great titles and offer either a subscription service or you can buy their titles separately. Personally, I use their subscription service and sometimes buy their titles on Bookwalker for the coin back. But hey, it's just another option to get more titles. Wordery are your guys for Doujinshi. They have quite a selection of titles that just won't appear elsewhere. As is Doujinshi, it's usually stuff you've never heard of, but I definitely recommend checking them out because nearly every single thing I've picked up from them has been fantastic. They also do hentai too.
And those are the places I tend to buy manga from, so I hope this has helped you in your journey to collect more manga. I'm hoping that it's managed to give you some more places to find manga if your usual suspects are all sold out. Hopefully you'll be able to find that rare copy of Chainsaw Man Volume 3 someday.